This is Lisa Russick and Misty Lore with the podcast We're All Psychic, and Misty is told to smile again. Now you can stop. And we have Granddaughter Crow back, and it's a video podcast. Go look at her. Thank you, Granddaughter Crow, for coming back.
Yes.
And we do have a question for you again. Do you still think we're all psychic?
Absolutely. More and more every day, because I think that it's our definition around the word psychic and releasing the maybe old connotations that we were taught of the negativity of being psychic, or that it's so special. It is special, but it's a superpower. You're almost the way that I was on this podcast a while back and I talked about it in a different way, but I want to hit it from a different angle. Your heart knows. It has intellect. And when you let your heart speak to your head, you will have psychic knowing. Your gut knows, your body knows. And when you let that speak to your mind, then you get information. It's interesting because we live in a very left hemisphere dominant brain activity of logic, linear thinking, planning for the future based on what we learned from the past, which might not always be true or real.
Right.
And we forget about the other types of intellect, our spiritual intellect, our emotional intellect, our body intellect. And when we give those other things a voice, we realize that why is my body not wanting to go into that room right now?
Yeah.
Follow it. You know, why do I just, when I get the phone call and it's this person, why do I clench?
Yeah.
I think that those are psychic abilities about claircognizance.
It's your body letting you know what it's picking up in those ways.
It's like animals
absolutely
do.
right.
Animals do the same thing. Like
there's no words spoken. Nothing happened.
Yeah.
It's just instantly, some kind of reaction, physical reaction. Good point.
Yeah. And so I would say there's another podcast, but I would say,
yes.
But I would say that learning the intellect of the other bodies of intelligence that you hold, even just within your own existence, there's a reason why a lot of religions or cults or belief systems tell you not to listen to your emotions, tell you not to listen to your body, that's lustful or whatever.
Right.
Because it separates you from your knowledge and your wisdom and your psyche.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amen to that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And it seems like in our culture, especially in the U.S., women are, when they're emotional, or just kind of, and men, when they're emotional, get the hammer, It's like a lot of times in just general society, men aren't, like, even when they're young, and don't be emotional. And women, when we're emotional, we're being irrational. Yeah, irrational or hysterical or something,
We're crazy.
Yeah. At least we're allowed to be emotional, kind of.
Right. It's harder for a man to be able to feel safe in expressing emotion. Yes. At the end of the day, if you think about it, where did that concept come from? Because I can tell you the animal kingdom does not have that concept.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking earlier. Yeah. Like they just automatically do it. Like you see it all the time, when there's a storm coming, the animals know before humans do.
Yeah.
They can sense it, and they know that there's danger coming, and they go and run for cover, and humans
Einstein's
are like,
under the sink. Yep.
We'll be all right. We're not listening to ourselves.
Yeah. And a lot of it comes from this idea that unless we see it, then it's not real.
Yeah.
And yet there is like a tree that leaves will turn over when a storm is coming, even if you can't see the storm. Mm-hmm. So it in it of itself could be considered psychic, a prediction.
Yes. Yeah. An omen.
An omen. Yeah. Absolutely. I love omens.
So listeners and watchers, if you would like to watch, I think I did mention it's a Spotify video. I did. Okay. So Granddaughter Crow is here to talk to us about astral travel. And I'm so excited. I've been waiting for this podcast, finding the right person for it. And I wrote you Monday, and here we are, Wednesday, the 29th. Yes. Of March. So how would you introduce this topic to someone who doesn't even know what astral travel is?
Oh gosh. This is such a big topic. And it has so many different nuances. The first thing I think I would say is astral, meaning spirit or an energy or an essence, that type of a consciousness. It's like an energy. So, and literally, if you do the etymology, it's going back to the stars. So it's going somewhere else to another plane of existence. There are things that we call astral bodies. And that I would describe as your spiritual energetic body or your conscious energetic body. Some people will call it your soul, but it's a consciousness that is shaped just like your physical body for the most part, because it can shift shape or shape shift. So the interesting thing around this, and then there's an astral plane, which is like, well, where's that, Granddaughter Crow? It's this spiritual consciousness, this plane, this realm, this existence. So for like a shamanic practitioner, they might think of astral planes being the upper world and the lower world. For somebody who practices the Norse and has 9 worlds, they would see each of those as an astral plane.
Okay.
So there's a lot to get into, but I would say that since the beginning of time, all over the world, in India, in China, in Egypt, in the First Nation indigenous cultures around the globe, they have different takes on something that happens within a person when they exit outside of their physical into another plane. Right. And they understand it in different ways. So it's a very broad topic.
It's all global. Yeah, everyone.
It's global. Absolutely. And each different belief system will have a different take on it. I will say that the biggest thing that I would say is there are different words. Listen to these words, and they're similar, but there's a little bit of nuance between them. Astral travel, astral projection, out-of-body experience.
Yeah, that's what I first heard it as. Oh,
yep. Journeying.
Yes.
Visions. What else is there? There's also remote viewing.
Remote viewing, clairvoyance. I guess remote viewing is more. Remote viewing is more than, I guess, just going somewhere and looking. Yeah. I can do that. Is that astral travel?
Well, see, I kind of categorize this under this idea of astral something. And so I'm going to kind of define it as I see it, but I can tell you that different cultures and different places are going to see it in different ways.
That's cool. Yeah.
So
that's encouraging, actually.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that it actually is very organic.
Yeah.
It's not something that is hard to do. It's the understanding that you are doing it when you go to your dreamland.
Okay. That makes it feel a little bit easier to me.
More tangible.
Yes. Yeah. And so you're saying, what's the difference between, let's say, an out-of-body experience and a lucid dream? Because lucid dreaming, listeners, if you don't know, is when you wake up in your dream and you know you're dreaming and then you just fly and do stuff. That's what I usually fly. I'm like,
So I would say that if you look at it from a broad standpoint, you would say, I'm going to define my astral existence as my consciousness and my energy. So hence, if that be true, when I go to dream state or dreamland, and then I do lucid dreaming, I'm consciously aware that I am somewhere outside of the physical.
Yeah. Okay.
But if so it really, the broad terminology is first understanding what do we mean by astral?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what I would say is it's the existence and the consciousness outside of the body.
Okay.
That we usually hold within the body. So, for example, some would say, I have an astral body. Some would define that astral body as their spiritual body. And then the thing that leaves your body when you die, your soul, maybe. Some people will say, no, it's the soul. And I'm not going to sit here and argue with anybody because I think we're all all
doing
right.
the same thing. Yeah.
we're right. We're using different concepts and terminology. The easiest way to understand it is when you do that lucid dreaming and you realize that, I mean, the first thing that I do when I realize I am lucid dreaming is I fly.
Yeah, me too. That's what I just said. It's so
I'm
great.
like, oh my goodness, this is the time when I can fly.
Yeah, I know. And I'm scared of heights, but not in my dream. I'm all of a sudden like, oh yeah, I'm dreaming. I can do anything, and that's the first thing.
Exactly. So the astral body would be the body that's in the dream that has the ability to shapeshift into something that can fly. And the astral plane then would be the dreamscape.
Okay. Yeah.
And so it happens for different people in different ways. There's so much to this. So I will say those are a lot of terms. Now I'm going to kind of go back into my notes and go, how would Granddaughter Crow take this esoteric, elusive, ambiguous,
Very
unknown, untangible concept and ground it for you? Yeah, for you as a
I
listener.
know you can.
And this is where I get excited because this is one of the things that I love to do. So let's back up and say we have 4 bodies of existence. And from that standpoint, they would be defined as the physical body, the emotional body, the mental body, and the spiritual body. And so these are 4 bodies. And when we look at them as bodies, we realize that all of them need to be fed. All of them need some sort of exercise. All of them need to rest. My emotions need to be emotionally fed. You know, my mind needs stimulation from a good podcast or a good book or whatever. And my spirit needs that food. So it's helping us to understand, wait, what does our physical body need? And such, what does our emotional body need? What does our mental body need? What does our spiritual body need? And how are they all relaying? So one thing that these all have in common, the astral projection, astral travel, journeying, visions, dreams, remote viewing, out-of-body experiences, is that it is a consciousness from the spiritual body to outside of the physical body.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing that happens within dreams.
Yeah. Okay. I always felt like my dreams were in here, but you're right. They aren't. I don't feel like I'm in when I wake up out of a dream, I feel like I'm coming back from somewhere. I really do. I don't feel like I'm like, where am I? It's kind of confusing at first,
Right. You got to kind of ground yourself because you're out of your body. Yeah. Okay.
I have a wonderful, fun story about this. It happened to me about 17 years ago. And this is where I started getting into really researching what is going on. I was sleeping and my eyes popped open and I was paralyzed. I could breathe.
That's happened to me. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I don't know what happened to you though, but that happened to me for 45 minutes one time.
So then I was just sensing I stayed in that state and didn't try to wake up too much, didn't try to shake it off, just experience it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I felt something in my room.
Oh.
And it got really close to me. And it was really strong, pure. And it connected with me and it went straight into my solar plexus.
Wow.
It's funny that you talk about different blue orbs because it was a blue, sparkly, almost like a star type of a scene, but like a beautiful, not magnetic blue, but it was a beautiful blue color. Yeah. And it went straight into my being. And then as it went all the way in, I got scared because I'm like, what am I getting possessed? What is this?
That would be too. Yeah.
That would be too. Yeah.
And at the moment that it completely entered, I was like, and the paralysis stopped.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm back in my body. And I, for weeks, did not share this story because you got to be careful when those things happen and you go to the wrong person and they start trying to cast the devil out of you or something like that. Mm-hmm. So I kept my mouth shut and I read a lot of books. And one day I found a book from a very well-known author, very well published, very knowledgeable, experienced metaphysical person. And she explained, it's like when you wake up at 3 a.m. and your body is paralyzed. Your body woke up prior to your astral body re-entering.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if that's what happened to you, Lisa, but
I was very aware that I was in my body, and I was screaming, but I couldn't move my lips. My eyes were half open. I'd been asleep and I woke up and I couldn't move. It's just like a classic sleep paralysis kind of thing, but I didn't have any spiritual experiences during that because I was afraid. I was freaking out I was watching because my eyes were open enough to see the clock on the TV or the VCR or whatever I had then. And, I saw people come and go, my roommates, and I was just like screaming at them in my head, but they didn't look and I didn't understand, but I knew I was really confused. There was definitely an element of confusion the whole time. Yeah.
I was confused and scared, but I just allowed.
Yeah.
Because
you have no choice, really, because you can't do anything. I did calm down eventually, but I don't remember anything really happening until I could move. And then I ran around. Oh, I can move again. You know what happened?
Yeah. I don't know what happened exactly to you, but I can say that I've had similar experiences. And what I do in that state, if something doesn't occur and I need to jump out of that state, I hold my breath.
Oh, good idea. Okay.
If you hold your breath, your body.
Yeah, it doesn't like that.
And the same thing when I'm having a dream that I want to get out of, that I can't find my way out of, I hold my breath and my physical body will struggle and it'll wake me up.
That's cool. Okay. I will remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I think that, like I was saying in the last podcast, it's like, if we understand the concept of multidimensional, knowing that everything is happening right now on so many different dimensions. So for existence, I am looking at you, my body can see you, I am talking to you on a primal level physically.
Yeah.
With body expression, tone, facial expression. And we're reading each other. We're having a dialogue that like cats would have, or dogs, And then we are also mentally speaking to each other through these sounds and vibrations that we call word and we call English.
Yeah.
And so our minds are engaged together and they're having another conversation. But if you slow yourself down, I can feel your heart. I can feel excitement, connectedness. I can feel cared for. I could feel those feelings. So our hearts are connecting on another dimension.
Yeah.
And then this idea, even with your listeners right now, open your heart and feel what you feel if you want to, and you will feel a warmth. You will feel an acceptance. You will feel an excitement, maybe, whatever it is that you feel. You put your own words around it, but that's our multidimensional speak, that we're speaking on spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical levels.
Good point.
And beyond.
Yeah.
And beyond. So, and it's all happening simultaneously. So like, it's the same, like this is a beautiful, warm example of that type of connection, right?
Yeah.
But let's say that you walk in to a used car salesman and you're in it and you're getting convinced, and then you go to the bathroom or say you've got to go grab lunch and they won't let you go and you're exhausted. And by the time you leave there, either you bought a lemon or you're like, oh my God, I just got shammed.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons why you know that is because you are having a multidimensional 4 bodies of existence talk with that individual.
They can manipulate all 4 if they want, if they know what they're doing. Some people.
They know. Yeah. They can con you.
Yes.
Until you leave. Until you're outside of their energetic field.
Yeah. Then
what just happened?
Yeah.
Because even with people who are less conscious, we're all still doing this. And so when we realize that we're having a multi-dimensional existence within just those 4 bodies, then let's add the astral plane, the spiritual plane that could be defined in many different religions and cultures as heaven or the upper world or the lower world, or, when I meditate and I visualize that I'm sitting in the stars or under a tree, all of that consciousness and that creation of the landscape is what you can identify as astral. Okay. Your dreamscape.
Even my imagination, is that an astral example?
I would say yes. And you know why?
Why?
Or what is driving your imagination?
I'd love to. I've done a podcast just on the imagination. No, I didn't get anywhere with it, but I love that. I think the imagination is like the basis of us, It
is our part. Well, how I see it is it's a part of our creator, divine creator, expressing itself in different ways. But if you think about it, why is it that 2 people can get really close and they start imagining same outcomes?
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
Because there is a consciousness that is driving our imaginations.
Yeah.
And sometimes that consciousness is fear, sometimes it's hope,
or love.
Sometimes it's love.
Romantic daydreams. Everybody loves those.
And then every once in a while you can consciously go into this state where you're just like, spirit, whatever it is that you are, my creator, the divine, how it reveals itself to me, drive my imagination.
So you just let go and just let things appear into your mind. Yeah.
And I think that that's one of the reasons why a lot of religions tell you not to do that, is because you will have an awakened spiritual experience. They'll tell you that's just your imagining. Don't stare too long at that candle. Don't meditate.
Yeah.
Don't, that kind of.
A lot of them will not like that because they will lose control of you in that kind of the religions who want to control their people.
Nail on the head. So I'll just kind of back up once again. If we look at the 4 bodies of existence and then realize that each of these have a plane of existence, my emotional body has a plane of existence. It has this. If I sit long enough and journal about it or write a poem, it's like, maybe sometime I'm on a beach and there's an ocean, or maybe sometime I'm sitting at a candlelight dinner. I have these different planes that my emotional body goes to. And sometimes they're not always happy, but they're different planes. My mind has the same thing. When I'm imagining or creating, or I'm an artist or a painter, if you start giving the landscape that you're working in a little bit more texture, that is that plane of existence, a mental plane of existence. And so it is with the spirit. It is defined by different cultures, belief systems, spirituality, metaphysics, religions, philosophy, theology. Mm-hmm. They're all trying to explain to us this unseen place that our spirit recognizes.
Yeah.
So when our spirit travels to the spiritual place, in short, that's astral travel.
So I've been probably doing it consciously and not aware of it, because I have done the shamanic trances where I go to the lower upper, or just heal something in someone's place is what I call it, So, but I'm very conscious of it, and I have to keep, if I lose focus, then but I can go back to it, if I do lose focus, and I can talk at the same time and describe what I'm seeing.
It's exactly what I'm talking about, this multidimensional speech and this multidimensional universe. You hit the nail on the head right there, because I can be up here talking with you guys, and a part of my soul can journey to the underworld and do this and do that.
That's what's happening. Yeah. I didn't realize that was like what it was. Okay.
If you get technical, some people will say, no, astral projection is your spiritual consciousness, a soul exiting the body and going into a different plane of existence outside of the physical realm. And I'm like, yeah, isn't that what journeying is?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And sometimes it is going within the body to find those realms, and sometimes it's going outside of the body. But I think that this is such a huge topic. I ain't going to argue with anybody on it, but
maybe we should make this like a 3-part podcast or something, and we can just kind of, if you feel like that's broad enough of a topic, I'm totally down for that.
It is.
You know, we can go until
It
you
is.
feel like you've got a good chapter closed, and then we can, let the listeners have
Absolutely.
it. You'd like to do that.
Okay, let's do that. I guess what I would say is, first and foremost, let's look at different terminology: astral travel, astral projection, journeying, visions, dreams, remote viewing, out of body experiences, and kind of figure out, what do each of those terms mean to you and how do you perceive them? And recognize that none of us have a direct interpretation of 100% truth, because historically each culture has been viewing things from different perspectives. But what we're all talking about has a similarity.
Okay.
And maybe a vision could be in my third eye up in here, and I'm still in my body. And maybe there's a difference, but we don't need to get into all of those splitting hairs.
It is just people splitting hairs about what we don't know. Exactly. Words for it. And words for it. And concepts for it.
Exactly it. That's exactly it. And so it's kind of like, when we put this concept way out there, what we're doing is not embodying it.
Yeah.
And then we don't feel like it's grounded within us. So I would say, first, look at all those concepts and kind of figure out what you're thinking. Then I would say, look at your 4 bodies of existence. Take a piece of paper and write down, what food, exercise, and rest do I need for my physical, my emotional, my mental, my spiritual?
Yeah.
And figure out that lay of the land. And then I have so many stories about what this all looks like, but I think that that's the basis of what we want to talk about, so people can ground in that energy. If you do want to, okay, I'll say this. This is my perspective. We're all astral traveling, whether we're conscious of it or not. We are all astral traveling, whether it's in dream time or wandering outside your body, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait a second.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to do is talk about, are you consciously astral traveling?
Yes, that is exactly what I wanted to know. Yes.
And how to exercise that. So think about the terms, think about the 4 bodies, put texture about what that looks like to you. Not what does it look like to Granddaughter Crow. What does it look like to you? And then I would say, if you want to exercise that muscle, maybe one little exercise that's fun that I used to do is, usually you need a blanket or something to put over you, because once you exit your body, your body gets a little cold.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then be in sacred space, just like you're going to do a meditation. Set up your sacred space and your sacred time and your safe space and all of that. Lay down maybe on your bed. And what I started doing was, I visualized that I would, not my physical body, but my emotional body or my spiritual body would sit up, get up, and walk down outside, and literally walk around outside and find something that I didn't know was there.
Okay.
Look around until you feel like, oh, was that a yellow piece of paper? No, wait, am I imagining that? Okay, settle down until you see something and you can't not see it. And then walk back up into your body, open your eyes, put your physical body outside, go take a look.
Oh, I'm totally going to try that. That's a beautiful example of something to try right away.
Make it easy. Make it easy.
That is easy.
Great. I love that. And that's a really good way to teach people how to remote view in a way too. You know, if you can actually imagine yourself walking, you can imagine yourself flying to Moscow or something. I don't know. Or China or something, and go investigate something. I don't know. That's what the government wants us to do in the 60s. So, but that's a perfect example. And listeners and watchers and Misty and Granddaughter Crow, I'm doing that today, tonight, probably.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try that.
That is your homework.
That is your homework.
And one thing that I would say is, it's a muscle. So settle in, and maybe you don't see it but it was there yesterday. So you need to keep coming
Think about time. Yeah, think about time. And it may have been in your astral form, there is no time, kind of. So from what I understand,
beyond space and time that you have to figure out. And so don't get discouraged if that yellow piece of paper isn't sitting there. Maybe somebody walked by and picked it up.
And also you can think of, like, if you do think of it as timeless, you can think of, like, were the trees green? Was there snow? Was it cold? Or is there seasonal things in the area, that's different than it is. Yeah. Now.
Yeah. And just keep relaxing until it feels natural.
Yeah.
And that's exercising your astral travel, to the extent that one time this lady asked me, Granddaughter Crow, I know that you do house clearings, or you used to. Can you just kind of look at my condo and see? I was just sitting in a shop. Can you look at my condo and see if it was clear or if I need to do anything? And I was like, you're giving me permission to go into your condo energetically? And she said, yes. I said, okay. I was like, why do you have a fan in the middle of your room? She turned red and was like, how did you know?
She didn't think you really would. Yeah.
And I was just like, don't worry, I'm not looking at the mess. I'm not. But I had trained myself so much to look for objects.
Yeah. So you're noticing every little object. Yeah.
And it's a muscle. We're all doing it. It's just kind of like the difference, like you said, Lisa, the difference between dreaming, and sometimes dreaming is just digesting your day.
Yeah.
But then there are those more significant dreams, and you're just like, oh, and then learning how to lucid dream. That's the same thing, the same concept be true around astral traveling and conscious astral traveling. It's a muscle. Okay.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I think that's a really good place to stop for the first podcast, and we'll see how we go from there. And thank you. You've given us like so much information in 40 minutes or something. I mean, it was just like, that's a lot. And thank you. I really appreciate it. Listeners and watchers, I know you do too. And yes, thank you. So do you have any last little bit you might want to tell the listeners? Any last little thing? Well, let me go ahead and thank our sponsor first so you can think of something. I'll give you time to I know you can always come up with something. So I'll thank our sponsor, Everclear. Everclear is an advice app where you can get advice from psychics and empaths so you can get the clarity you need to create the life you deserve. And thank you, Misty. I want to thank you before I get this last piece of whatever golden nugget of wisdom Granddaughter Crow has for us.
Yes.
I would say that just like you're getting to know that we're all psychic, so it is the same. We all astral travel. Understanding how you do it and learning what that muscle feels like and doing it consciously is the same exercise that this podcast stands for on being psychic. It takes a minute, but when you recognize you and how you do things naturally and organically, it's not something way out there. It's literally coming home.
Oh, wow. That's so beautiful. That is just perfect. Thank you. And thank you so much for that. And listeners, I will let you know, I guess we'll just post the next one when it's time, when we have it down. And we love you. And we will see you with Granddaughter Crow again, and Misty again, and me again sometime soon. Loves. Bye. Okay. Stop recording.